Shut up and sit down.
Coming to you live from the Citadel, it's the People's Review Podcast. With me, Space Ranger Dylan, and my co-host,
Space Pilot Jose.
And we're talking about Mass Effect this week.
Mass Effect.
We're going to be talking a little bit about the series, why we like the series so much. We're going to also be ranking all of the party members, from Caden to Edie, from Jenkins to Aria.
I thought Jenkins and Aria were out. What happened?
I mean, we'll see.
Are you flip-flopping?
I mean, it'll be discussed. Jenkins not going to be in this, but we will get to that. I guess we should start off maybe for the uninitiated. What is Mass Effect?
Mass Effect. Well, to me, Mass Effect is the great trilogy of the Shepard story. So basically, Commander Shepard is this guy who you pretty much choose his origin story, first of all. I think that's one of the first games where you really got to pick your character's background. In 2007, this was very rare.
Yeah, and background that they bring up constantly in conversation to sort of establish that the man or woman you're playing as, Commander Shepard, is already a pretty big deal.
Yes. So Shepard will always be your last name. You can actually change the first name of the character if you choose to, and you can change his appearance however you want. You can be
the first
male
name
or
is
female,
Commander,
but the first name is always Commander.
They always say Commander or Commander Shepard because obviously they can't record that many names. Or they did that for Fallout 4. They had like a selection of names that they could choose from that some people would say, but that's also still limited by the amount of names that are there. So
yeah, I'll just go off the bat and say that Jose is not one of the options in Fallout 3.
Really?
No, I didn't have it.
It's like racist.
That's racist. You know, it's just not as common of a name apparently. As
but like in the
Joseph.
world, Jose is probably a common name.
Definitely more.
Like
common
if
than
Dylan's in there, like.
But you have to realize that this is more always going to be based towards North American audiences, and it's going to be towards the whole world. It's like whenever I play MLB The Show, they always have my name, but they never have my last name. So I always have to, choose the closest one. The only game that has my last name is FIFA. So that's
Really?
the only career mode that I can play where it's like it's my full name authentic. But every other game, it's a knockoff.
I sort of have that issue with my last name. I'm not trying to put out my government name out there, but my government, there's basically a common name that has an S on the end, and mine does not have the S at the end. But that's still like even so, that is hardly an issue, because the name's mostly there.
Yeah, exactly. So you're good. It still sounds like your name. Me, I have to go like, sometimes it's not even like at all close, but it's close enough in my eyes.
Joseph, or probably Joe, or Joey maybe.
I never have an issue with my first name in sports games. It's always the last name.
Yeah. Well, Joey. Yeah, Mass Effect, and one of the big, I hate to say gimmick's the wrong word, but one of the most important things about this game, or this game trilogy, is that the Commander Shepard character that you create in Mass Effect 1 can be carried to Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. And the decisions that you make in each game sort of have rippling effects as to what happens in the later games. So it really does feel like a full epic adventure experience and a really fun role-playing game, even still to this day, with the release of Legendary Edition, which we have been playing a bunch of.
Oh, you know it. I feel like the last 4 episodes of the podcast was basically a quadrilogy of me telling my story of me going to get Mass Effect, then beating Mass Effect, then beating Mass Effect 2, then beating Mass Effect 3. So I'd like to say that the four first podcasts we had was actually my story of going through Mass Effect.
It's my story. That's very, very analogous to the real Mass Effect as being your story carried through multiple episodes.
Exactly. And, everything you do throughout the games, as Dylan said, has that rippling effect, which it can be positive and negative depending on your choices. If you decide to kill somebody in one game and he's, a key character in another game, guess what? Now you're probably missing out on like some free loot or something just because you decided to kill that guy.
Or more importantly, some cool, unique cutscenes or story moments that you'll probably just miss out on, which arguably, in these games, arguably more valuable, because, in these games, the combat is good, but the combat is sort of secondary to the story and those sort of dialogue interactions going on. Sort of where the meat of everything is,
Yeah, especially in like the first game. The combat is not as great. It's definitely the story that drove that game to be as popular as it was.
Oh, yeah. It certainly wasn't the Mako stuff.
Oh, fuck no. If it was the Mako was pretty much the dragging point of Mass Effect 1.
So yeah, you would have the opportunity to go onto alien planets with your 6-wheel off-road vehicle that it just doesn't really control that great, but luckily, like, it's all in service of the great story. So it's one of those things where, that's like Jose said, that's what's carrying it. Did I say that right?
Carrying.
This is what's propelling the game forward is the story.
There you go.
There we go. Got it. And they would update sort of refine it through each game. So Mass Effect 2 had a little more Gears of War type combat, a better cover system, no Mako stuff.
Yeah, I was happy when they got rid of the Mako stuff. Honestly, planet hopping is fun, but I honestly thought the scanning system prevailed a lot better because you could just go straight to that point instead of exploring the whole stupid planet.
And the scanning planet feature in Mass Effect 2 actually records like when you visit planets, so you can see like, oh, I visited this whole cluster. I don't have to come back here. And where Mass Effect 1, there was no direct indication whether you have visited a place or not until you go there and go, oh, there's nothing to find here. I must have already visited it.
Yeah, that was really annoying because you'd be like, oh, what planet is this again? Oh, shit, I already got all the good stuff from here. Back to the stupid Mako.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mass Effect 2, because of its improved combat, the story was just so much more in-depth than Mass Effect 1. I felt like when I played Mass Effect 2 for the first time, it just felt so much more enriching than the other two, the first game when it came out, because there were more companions, B, way more side quests, and C, the final mission is just top notch. And the consequences of that final mission just have so many lasting impacts throughout the next game, which is Mass Effect 3.
Oh yeah, and the way that you can tackle the lead up, how you prepare for that last mission can be done in so many different ways. You can be a completionist, recruit everybody, get all their loyalty missions, which will help them not die in the suicide. Or I guess spoilers for all 3 games. Obviously, we love these games. We've played them a bunch. We're going to be talking about spoiler stuff. But yeah, the way you can prepare that to that last mission, the people you can choose to not recruit people, not do their loyalty missions, not upgrade the ship, and just go in. And you can get the bad ending where everyone dies, or you can get an ending where just 2 people live, or half your team lives, or all your team lives, depending on those decisions that you make there. So just the number of ways that can play out is really impressive.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, if only 2 people live, and let's say it's you and like Zaid, the worst character, by the way, that lives, Wait, no, Zaid is not the worst character. The worst character is in the next game.
He's down there.
Yeah, he's definitely
like
down
if we're being
there.
honest. Like I think he's kind of funny, but he doesn't have a lot going on.
Yeah. And if that suicide mission goes, Harry, basically in the next game, you're pretty much like you don't have like half of the squad you would have if most of them don't survive.
I mean, yeah, for Mass Effect, I mean that would be the only guaranteed party members would be
Ashley
or
Kaidan.
Ashley or Kaidan,
Liara.
Edie, Liara,
and James
and Javik if you get the DLC.
Yeah, but if you're playing the Legendary Edition, you would have all the DLC.
Yeah, so Javik's in there because he's, he I feel like that was a gimmick later on, or okay, I don't even, to the people that are uninitiated, all the technology in the Mass Effect universe is based off an ancient race called the Protheans, and so one of the characters you can recruit, Javik, is a member of this ancient race from 50,000 years ago when all the races were wiped out, and he's now waking up in the modern time where he's fighting the same enemy again. So he has, he's really a fish out of water character.
I never understood that DLC, to be honest. I was like, why is this even being added on? You can't give me a way better character than fucking Javik.
I mean, it's just like, well, what can we add? Like we've had Krogan, we've had all these other races. What are we gonna? We're not gonna give you a Patarian crew member or a Volus crew member or like a Hanar crew member. Can you imagine an Elcor crew member coming on to Normandy, be like, please greeting. I am happy to be working with the commander.
Greetings, Shepard. Do you want a bone?
Oh my god. So yeah, the whole Mass Effect universe and in that science fiction way is full of all sorts of different alien races that all conveniently speak English. From a number of mostly humanoid shaped characters that have hands and feet and can use guns, to some different, all like there's a race that's just big squid creatures, and they just like talk through your mind, I guess. There's a goofy race called the Elcor, which are just kind of look like big elephants without the snout, and they talk very monotone. And you have the Volus, which are like a short, fat race that are mainly doing like diplomat deals and stuff. So it's a very colorful world that they build up throughout these three games. So it sort of allows you to get really invested into the story and the world. They bring it alive really well with the writing, even for minor one-off characters. Like even the more one-dimensional ones that you see in like one cutscene or two, they just feel really well written. You could probably cherry pick some bad examples, but for the most part.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be bad characters even in good games. But yeah, I feel like there isn't a moment, I think, throughout the games that it feels like it's forced or, I feel like all three games just all tell a great story. All the characters have great depth, and I also feel like the minor characters, even like, especially on the loyalty missions, I feel like even then they show great characters and really add more to the story that you're not going to experience throughout the main story,
Yeah, even an okay character can be have a really strong loyalty quest that makes you like him just that much more. Go from just kind of like a boring guy to like, whoa, this is actually like some really interesting stuff happening here.
Yeah, and I felt like that throughout Mass Effect 2. There were a lot of characters I disliked, but as I did their loyalty quests, it really made the character shine a lot more.
The specific example I'm thinking of in my head is Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
From Mass Effect 2, where most of the human party members, we're going to be ranking all the party members from S rank to F rank. Jacob is a character that is kind of like a lot of the human party members are just kind of boring. They have stuff going on, but for the most part, Jacob just seems like a hired gun type guy. Former army man. helping you out with this rogue organization. But his loyalty quest involves him looking for his dad, and it turns out that his father has taken advantage of his crew that are their brains are deteriorating because they're eating the local food on this planet they crashed on, and he's hoarding all the food for himself, and it's implied he might be like sexually abusing all the people too. And so Jacob has to confront his dad, who he thought was dead but is really an evil person. So yeah, elevating an okay character to like having a story that is really compelling. That that storyline could be its own video game, right?
Yeah, it could
like
be.
You could extend that into like a whole thing.
I mean, the way most games get extended for stupid shit, that would be a way better story than most.
Yeah, and definitely better than Andromeda, let's say.
I mean, Jacob's quest by itself is entirely greater than all the aspects of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah, which I was just say, we're not including any Mass Effect Andromeda characters in this ranking discussion, and this will probably be the last time we mention it. Besides, like, what a damn disappointment! What just like the opposite of what Mass Effect should be. Just
bad. That game was a big reason why I stopped pre-ordering a lot of games, just because I lost my trust in BioWare.
Yeah, you see that every few years with some games, right? Like this, there's going to be a new generation of those guys now with Cyberpunk, right? Like after the disappointment with Cyberpunk, there's going to be those people that are learning the lesson. Just wait, watch a Twitch stream, watch a video, see what's up.
Yeah,
$60 is not an insignificant amount of money. Just wait a second.
And I was really disappointed because it was like right after Dragon Age Inquisition had came out. Like I think it was a year and a half later. And Inquisition was a phenomenal game. Like the character depth in Inquisition, I would say, is even superior to what was in Mass Effect 2.
Interesting. I've definitely heard some praise. Maybe not that strong of praise, but or compared to what you were. That's a big comparison, even for a BioWare game. But it's crazy how it dropped off so severely to Andromeda just having the just shallowest character. It's like a Scooby-Doo gang. Whereas this trilogy has like human being characters. I mean, it sounds dumb, but like you can feel like these guys are actual people with personalities, strengths, weaknesses, quirks. Like, you know so much about these characters. You're just not compelled in the same way in a game like Andromeda, where it's just, if you're not compelled by the story in a story-driven game, you lost me.
Yeah, pretty much. It's probably one of the reasons why I never beat it. I got halfway through, and I was like, you know what, this is just...
You know what their inspiration was for that game? They were like, let's take the Mako segments, but make them longer.
I thought you were going to say they were like, let's just take that part of Jacob's story where it's really boring and make it into an entire game.
Wait, I thought you said Jacob's story was good.
I said the boring parts, not the good parts.
The boring parts where you just walk from... Yeah, they looked at James from Mass Effect 3 and they're like, now we need to build here. This is a place where we can develop.
This is a character that's going to take us to the moon. James. All right.
So you want to start this ranking process?
Shall we?
Because we'll probably divert. We're gonna divert into different parts that we like while we talk about these characters, right? I mean,
True.
We're gonna be segueing all over the place, but I have the characters written in like some sort of game order, like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. The characters that are introduced in Mass Effect 3 have a distinct disadvantage because they're only in one game as opposed to some other characters that will be in all 3 games. So you're going to develop that connection and they're going to have more time to develop. That being said, we're ranking them from S rank to F rank. So S, A, B, C, D, F.
It's like grades, but way
like grades,
cooler.
But there's no S grades in school.
Yeah, if you're super smart.
It's like Sonic style, like S rank and then S plus rank or whatever. Let's start. I'll read a name and then we'll discuss. Number 1. This isn't the number 1 guy in the ranking. This is just the first guy we're discussing. Caden Alenko.
Oh my fucking god. Caden. Ugh. I'll start off with Caden.
Yeah. What do you have to say about Caden Alenko?
Let's see. So Caden is a really weird character. He's Vory. He's very monotone. His background story is really weird. If you have to talk to him, I would suggest not. I say if you're playing Mass Effect 1, just like the whole time, just like never go to that one part of the ship where he hangs out. Just go where Garrus is. But Caden,
that's a little harsh. I mean, I get it because he's not that compelling, but he has a little backstory about being like one of the early biotics and how most of the people that were in his generation are now like severely incapacitated, and he was just one of the lucky ones due to this like brute force research. But yeah, monotone, and it's funny because he has did you ever play the Knights Old Republic games?
I did not.
So those were also developed by BioWare, and it's like a pre-Mass Effect game, like very similar structure. You're a leader of a ship, party members, go on quests, all that stuff, but in Star Wars. And he plays a character called Carth Onasi, who is 100% more annoying than Caden is.
I honestly can't imagine a character more annoying than Caden besides James.
Oh boy, I got some things to show you after this podcast. But I put Caden at a C rank.
You gave him that high of a rank? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, I like Caden. He's generally level-headed. I like in later games. I like how he. I appreciate Caden, especially compared to the alternative, which we'll discuss next. But not like that interesting. Not a favorite. You know, like a lot of the human characters are just sort of.
Yeah, they're really bland. Humanity.
And
he's a
biotic, and biotics are cool. So C rank. Where would you put him?
That's completely different from where I would put him. I would give him an F rank. He's boring.
All the way to the F, man.
He basic. He killed somebody, and he has a really creepy, weird story about it.
Yeah, but he killed a guy who was a dick.
Well, murder is murder, Dylan. In the eyes of the law, murder is murder.
Yeah, well, I guess you're not very renegade now, are you?
Nah, I'm not. I don't punch the reporter in the face, you know.
So just for a little bit of additional context for anyone who may be uninitiated, a lot of the game, all the decisions you make give you either Paragon, aka good guy points, or Renegade, aka bad guy points. So, you know, it kind of affects your playthrough and how you interact with people and stuff like that. It is a little more nuanced where, like, Paragon is more by the book, where Renegade might just be a little more direct but for a good cause, or a little more ruthless but in the end they may be right. So when we talk about Paragon Renegade, that's what we're referring to.
Yeah, and
you are going full Renegade on Caden.
Yeah, fuck Caden, man. Honestly, he doesn't even get saved. I have never played a game where I saved Caden.
Really?
Yeah, that's how boring he is.
Well, I actually feel that way about our next character, another human being, Ashley Williams.
The space racist.
Sucks,
pew, 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 pew.
Who is a space racist, Bible-thumping Christian space racist. Has a line in the Citadel, which is like a big melting pot of all these races. She says out loud, I can't tell the aliens from the animals. So, she does develop later on. She learn if she survives to 3, she learns not to be as much of a space racist. She has a backstory about trying to clear the family name because her grandfather surrendered in the first intergalactic war that humanity fought. But she sucks. D rank.
Oh wow, Ashley has a lot of correlation to most real life human beings, where whose grandfathers lost in a who fought in a losing war as well. Wink,
Oh, I thought you
wink.
were gonna say most people are racist.
Well, that too.
But yeah, it's so that part, yeah, that part elevates her from F to D.
Yeah, Ashley is not my favorite character. She's definitely more tolerable than Caden, but regardless, neither of them ever really stay in my party. It's usually just me and the boys.
What is it exactly about Caden that makes him, in your opinion, intolerable? Is it that he complains about headaches like once?
Headaches? He doesn't really add to this. At least Ashley, has some commentary. Caden is just like,
Yeah, you can talk to Caden and get commentary, just like it's like the same amount as Ashley provides.
I don't know. I just feel like Ashley, at the end, because her character grows more. I feel like Caden's character doesn't grow as much. So there's a better payoff with Ashley than there is with Caden towards the end.
Yeah, I guess, but I'm sticking with the D rank. She sucks.
It's like, when you watch a show, like if you watch Dragon Ball Z, you want to see Vegeta grow to be a better person.
She is nothing like Vegeta.
Oh, she's not like Vegeta, but she has a character arc that shows a lot more progress from the person she used to be, where Caden is pretty much like a flat character. He doesn't show any growth.
He's pretty much already a good person when you meet him.
Exactly.
And later on, he's still a good person. So, Ashley has a bit more growth for sure.
Exactly. And that's why I think, she's a better character to save in the long run, where Caden is meh.
Where would you rank her?
I give her like a D plus ranking.
B plus.
D plus, not
Oh,
B.
D plus. Okay.
God, I'm not giving this bitch a fucking
I did.
B.
I was about to be like, I do not understand your rankings, sir. But
sir, I am questioning you and your authority.
Yeah. So actually, in this my newest playthrough, I flipped a coin on the decision to save Caden or Ashley, and it landed on Ashley. So she's going to be saved for this next playthrough. So looking forward to seeing those differences in this playthrough.
And my boy Dylan's gonna get with Ashley too. Aww,
nope.
Yeah.
I'm playing a female shepherd, and she's going to get Garrus, which is our next character. I didn't even try to do that segue. That just happened. Garrus for Carrion, Turian cool guy. This is a clear S rank.
Garrus. Okay, buddy. He is not S rank. Garrus is S
This is
plus
okay.
rank.
Okay. I take that back about the blasphemy.
Garrus is the fucking man. He's always fucking hanging out, upgrading the ship, giving you high fives.
Checking the calibrations.
Someone's got to calibrate. I don't see Caden fucking calibrating it, and he's right next to the fucking engine.
He has a headache.
Ugh.
Come on.
Excuses.
Yeah, so you meet Garrus in Mass Effect 1, and he's basically he's playing a cop, or no, he's not playing, but he is a cop on the Citadel, which is like the major space station in the game, and he's sort of frustrated by the politics, the red tape that he has to use, that is hindering him from solving these different crimes. Joins up with Commander Shepard to make a difference, and he becomes a total bro he's a party member in every single game, which gives him a clear advantage over some of these characters. But he's always there. He's loyal. He's funny. He's got that dry sarcasm humor. And also in the game, there's a lot of discussion about the human Turian conflict. Turian is the race that Garrus is from. And they were the first ones to make contact with humans, and they basically wiped out the human army to make them surrender. So there's in the Mass Effect universe, there's been that animosity between these two races, and Garrus and Shepard, show a little bit of bonding. Fuck racism, Garrus and Shepard forever.
Yeah, pretty much. Garrus, total bro the whole time. High fives. He goes in all the missions.
He's got a lot. He got a lot of good. He is a great. Both his loyalty missions in the games are real good. In the first one, you help him track down a crazy organ harvester who got away while he was on a Citadel cop because of political red tape. Your methods are too extreme and all that stuff. So you go and help kill him. And in Mass Effect 2, you're helping kill the guy who got his whole team killed in between Mass Effect 1 and 2. Yeah, Garrus is good. I like Garrus.
Yeah, and just throughout the stories, especially as the games go on, I feel like Garrus also grows as a character. He always has more quips about him. Not only that, I feel like he's just like the funniest character throughout the whole story.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of them for sure. It seems like every game he gets a little more like darker or like idealistic too. Like he goes from being a Citadel cop to joining up with your crew to save the galaxy. When you meet him in 2, he's fighting every single mercenary group by himself. So he's got no chill. He's
and
just
then in
total.
3 he's a general. He's pretty much the leading expert on Reapers. So he pretty much like skyrockets position. I just love especially in like the Mass Effect Citadel DLC. That's a fun when you're throwing the party, and as amped as it's getting the whole time, he's just like, Shepard, what if we just started putting a bunch of explosions here, a bunch of bombs here? That way, if anyone ever tried to break in, it just breaks the glass and it just hits them all over their body, killing them.
He's just constantly thinking about setting up defenses.
Yeah, pretty much the whole time. Like everyone is out here partying, and this dude is just like, how can I make this whole place into a giant death trap?
Yeah, the Citadel DLC is such great fan service in the best way possible. Because like obviously it's like it's not pandering, but here's all your favorite characters having fun in these fun side stories, and here's more dialogue, and everyone's getting together. Like in the Citadel DLC, when you're going on the mission and you choose the 2 party members that come with you, and everyone else is just standing outside, like, I never get picked. Like little fourth wall breaking stuff.
Yeah, especially if it's like if you pick Garrus and Rex, Ashley and Liara, they're always like, I never get picked. It's starting to feel that way.
I'm always picking Garrus and Rex. Let's move on to Rex. Also an S-rank character.
I like Rex, but I feel like he is an A-rank character.
Still good, still high. I approve.
He starts off slow. You really don't get him until like a couple of missions later. And the whole Vermeer thing pretty much is like, unless you're like, yeah, where isn't Vermeer where they go
it's just
to get the genophage?
It's Vermeer, isn't it?
Vermeer. Close enough, right?
Well, tomato.
Exactly. Where, if you're not either high Paragon enough, or I don't know if you're high Renegade, you could also get the option where you pretty much save him instead of having to kill him.
And if you go do his loyalty quest. You go get the family armor for him.
Yeah, so unless you really do all this work, you pretty much lose him as a character for the rest of the game and then the rest of the series.
But yeah, who on earth is not putting in that work?
I mean, I'm not saying who on earth isn't putting in that work, because everyone does. But, him being overly reliant on the genophage cure leads to, in Mass Effect 2 or 3, you basically have to deal with Reeve the whole time, who's a giant dickhead.
Yeah, so Rex is a Krogan, and basically a warrior reptile race that was brought in to fight a battle too early. Like there were 2 brought into space flight too early, and then they tried to take over the galaxy, and as a result, scientists developed a disease called the genophage, which reduces the fertility rate of his race by a bunch. So it's pretty much a large part of his story is him wanting to get that cure for his people so they can stop being mercenaries, stop fighting, stop dying, and sort of rebuild. Yeah, which comes to a beautiful conclusion in 3 if you're not a dickhead and choose to cure it. Such a sad, brings up to a satisfying conclusion. And there's a part where Rex is just like, before he fights a bunch of guys, like, Shepard, you're my friend, you're my brother, and it's just like, yes, I am. This feels so good, building up after 3 games to this beautiful conclusion where you save his entire race.
Yeah, and not only that, he's also a blast during the Mass Effect 3 Citadel DLC.
Yeah, the Citadel DLC is basically all the major characters that are alive by that point coming to the Citadel to party with Shepard. And Rex's appearance, he jumps out of a window, smashes a car, and like kicks 2 people to their death. So it's like a surprise wrestling cameo where like Stone Cold comes out and just stunners a couple people and gets a big pop.
Pretty much. I do love Rex. Great character. But I feel like certain aspects of his character sometimes leave him to be an A rank character instead of an S rank character.
Still high. If it
high.
was B, we might have some issues, but
he's still a great character. You should definitely try to save him with all you can because it pays off throughout the rest of the games.
Oh yeah, and in Mass Effect 2, when you meet up with him, he's just like, Shepard, my friend. This is worth it.
And it doesn't get any better than that.
And Krogan are great. I love all the Krogan characters, even the minor ones. They're just so good.
Yeah, especially when you go visit Tuchanka. Yeah, all their characters are pretty great, except for the ones that pretty much just want to kill you on sight.
Yeah, but they're gonna face the end of my shotgun, my space shotgun, and I blow it in their faces, and it's like, I'm the Shepard, bitch.
I am the Shepard. I killed the Saren.
I killed the Saren. I killed the Reaper. I killed the Collectors.
You know who wasn't killing the Collectors with us in the last mission? Our next character, Liara.
Liara, yes. Everyone's favorite Asari Blue Lady character. Now talk about someone who has some development. Like this is a character that starts kind of boring. She's basically just an archaeologist. She's digging around in a ruin looking at rocks and shit. And you rescue her because her mother is working for the bad guy. So you're trying to get some information out of her. But then in Mass Effect 2, she goes all sorts of new places.
Yeah, in Mass Effect 2, her character, she's the one who so if you're, for the uninitiated in Mass Effect 2, your character, the Shepard, Commander the Shepard.
Commander the Shepard.
In literally the first 5 minutes. And then after, you're done with the tissues and the sobbing, you realize who dies faster? Jenkins in Mass Effect 1 or Shepard in Mass Effect 2?
We're going to have to get the timer out.
You're going to have to pull out the timer. See who dies faster. I think Jenkins might do it. Because
Jenkins, at least Shepard in 2 is going out on a blaze of glory. The ship's blowing up. He's rescuing Joker. He just gets the escape pod off, but then he or she flies off into space, and chokes to death in the oxygen in space, and is basically careening toward a planet. Probably is basically a pile of meat and tubes as it's described. Jenkins, who is a character that you meet in the first 5 minutes of Mass Effect 1, who has basically it's just like, oh, golly gee, Garsh, I hope we're going to do this mission real well. I'm looking for some real action. And the first enemy you see in that game shoots him to death. He is not he is F rank. Jenkins is F rank.
Jenkins doesn't classify to B ranked. Sorry.
Unranked. Just at the bottom of the barrel. Liara is definitely, I would put her near the top, though. because the developments that are made in the Shadow Broker DLC really help her out.
Oh yeah, the Shadow Broker DLC definitely enhances her character. As Dylan also said, she is quite. I think she is pretty boring in the first game. I feel like most of the characters in the first game aren't as good as they are in the later games. Liara being one of them. I feel like there's a lot in her, but it hasn't really been exposed yet. So I feel like Liara is kind of a B character. She's way better than Ashley. I mean,
Yeah.
if you bring along a rock, that would be better than Ashley and Caden.
Yeah.
But
Those
you
guys
can't bring
suck.
along a rock.
Yeah, but you can bring along Liara. And
Exactly.
so I think I was cutting you off before where in Mass Effect 2, Liara is the reason that you get revived because she finds your body and sells it to Cerberus.
No, she doesn't sell it. She gives it to
She
Cerberus.
gives it to Cerberus so Shepard can be rebuilt. She also becomes the Shadow Broker in a really fun DLC segment where she's now just the master of all information. She's anonymous Shadow Broker, even though she just says she's the Shadow Broker every 5 minutes later on. But goes from a kind of boring I work in the mines character to I am the knight. Like I know everyone's deepest, darkest secrets.
She's a fucking Batman.
Yeah. And once again, biotics, which is basically the Force, but it looks blue. Good stuff.
I'm just trying to imagine Liara trying to sell Shepard to the Cerberus now. It'd just be such an awkward conversation because her character is just always so awkward.
Oh
in
yeah,
Mass Effect
that's
1.
part of that's part of it, right? Like she's a nerdy person who has spent a lot of her life not talking to anyone and consumed in her research.
True, and she is 109 years old.
Oh yeah,
for the uninitiated.
This is the elf race of this universe where they live to be thousands of years old. So at 100, she's like basically a child or like
Exactly.
a teenager.
I would say she's like the equivalent of teenager. I guess
Oh
that
yeah,
would be the
I mean
most-
equivalent. She's like a young adult. So that's how the person. That's what the personality is like.
She definitely does age in those 3 years, though. She becomes so mature.
I mean, but like 3 years in the game is like 1 minute in her life compared to like a human.
I know. Can you imagine living to 1,000 years?
Nope.
It was just so boring.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Or going from like 1,000 years ago to now, just being alive.
Just like imagine you living 1,000 years and then everyone else lives 100 years.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like-
you constantly have to get. I mean, isn't it just Twilight?
Yeah, pretty much. Except for without Kristen
How
Stewart.
long have you been 17?
I don't know. 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible actor.
Nah, he's a good actor, but there's just he was in a teen film for 13-year-old girls.
Yeah,
It's based on a book written by a hack.
I mean, aren't all books for 13-year-old girls written by hacks?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, hey, you get your money however you can. Not going to
True,
begrudge them, but it's not to follow the writer. It's to follow the people who buy them. Maybe.
Yes.
I don't know.
Dylan is only upset because he was dragged to watch one of the Twilight movies, unfortunately, as a
Yeah,
youth.
I just see one of them with the werewolf guy. This was like 2009 or 10. I mean, it was the 2010s, man. It was a different era.
I know.
I didn't even know
remember,
my own. I didn't even know my own name.
It's crazy. I remember in high school, that was such a huge deal. Like, every year, as those movies, because those movies, what were like 5 of them? I felt like they came out every year
Know.
of high school. Because people wouldn't be like, oh my God, are we going to go watch Twilight? Ugh, I can't believe I'm always Team Jacob.
Oh yeah, Team Jacob and Team whatever.
Edward.
Team that guy. Oh, Robert Pattinson, that's his name.
Yeah, the next Batman.
What I remember also is like later on, started seeing a lot of girls reading 50 Shades of Grey, which is Twilight fan fiction. And like reading some of that in school and just being like, what the fuck?
Really? I don't know if I saw anyone who was ballsy enough to read.
Some people
50
be
Shades of
thirsty
Grey.
out there, man. Some people be thirsty. And they just read 50 Shades in public. Like, not even on a Kindle where you can, like, hide it. And just pretend that you're reading, like, the newspaper or some shit.
Did we have Kindles back then?
I mean, probably. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know anyone who had a Kindle, so that ruins my point. But,
Yeah, I don't.
it was just, like, not even, like, a book cover or, like, read it at home. Don't bring it to school. Like, people just be horning out during class.
Hey, don't kink shame anybody, Dylan. That's not cool.
No, it isn't cool. Especially because we're talking about Mass Effect, where there are a lot of interspecies relationships.
Exactly, and Liara is one of the... So in Mass Effect, you can romance a few of the characters depending on who you are. If you are the male... Yeah. If you are the male Shepard, you can romance Ashley and Liara. And if you are a female Shepard, you can romance Kaidan, Garrus, and Liara.
Well, not in the first game.
What was that?
But yeah, you cannot romance Garrus in Mass Effect 1, although you can in Mass Effect 2.
Ah, so you can't. Oh.
Nope, no Garrus romance. It's not even an option. You have to wait to Mass Effect 2 to where, like, where they really sort of open it up a little more. Where you can romance, I mean, there's like 11 party members. You can romance most of them, depending on gender and stuff. And one of them is Garrus, best boy Garrus, best bro Garrus.
Bro.
Another person you could romance, and this is our last original Mass Effect party, or last character that starts an original Mass Effect, is Tali. Well, actually, no, I didn't put Liara on the ranking. A rank.
A rank.
Liara is great. I'm putting it at A.
I'll put Liara as... I think she's... Yeah, A rank sounds about right for her,
A or B,
She's good
about it.
Beginning, and then she becomes great later.
Yes. Definitely a good build for her. Another person I think gets a good build is Tali, where she starts off also kind of like boring and shy and becomes a lot more badass and important later on.
Yeah, I feel like Mass Effect 1, although the story was great, I feel like the characters just weren't as well developed. And if they weren't as well developed... Yeah.
Well, especially in comparison to what is going to happen later on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess if I was playing just Mass Effect 1 without knowing 2 or 3, I feel like the characters would be adequate.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have that comparison. So, but she definitely gets a lot more. She gets funnier, like Garrus, or a lot more humorous dialogue. Depending, a lot of missions you can bring her on. She's also becomes she and Garrus are party members in all 3 games, which gives them a significant bonus here because they're just always with you. And if you don't romance either of them, they get together at the end.
Happiness,
which is great fan service.
Yeah, honestly, if I can't believe I forgot about that because in the last playthrough, I romanced Tali in the second game, and I forgot all about Garrus, my poor bro. He didn't get Tali at the end.
Garrus is just calibrating by himself, you bastard.
I should have remembered this because they got together in Mass Effect 3 when I first played it because I didn't romance Tali because, I romanced Miranda in the second game because I didn't know when I first played Mass Effect 2 that you could romance anyone besides Miranda.
Yeah, no, Miranda is a very popular character for romance, probably.
I didn't even know that you could romance like Jack.
Yeah, I guess it's what sort of the yin and yang to these more dialogue based games is that depending on your choices, you could just not see certain options, or just depending on how you play through, how you feel like the character would act. Like maybe your character's not going to talk to certain characters, or just not interested in seeing more about them and just sort of focused on the mission or whatnot. So, but yeah, I think the Jack one's a little more. I think it's harder to unlock that. I think.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Mistaken.
That's why I probably never. I mean, when I played Mass Effect 2 the first time, I was pretty much in like a hurry to beat it because there were other games that I had to play because it came out literally during when every other single game was coming out, like Fallout 3. I think Fallout New Vegas was coming out that year actually instead of Fallout 3.
Yeah, very similar, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, and if you wanted to get that $30 from GameStop, you gotta play it within that week.
Oh yeah, gotta return this to get half the value for the game.
Oh man, GameStop used to rip us off so hard.
And they probably still do.
Not me,
except for the people who made zillions on those stocks. But as far as games go, yeah.
Well, I don't know how much profit you can make from digital games. That's why I buy all my games digital now, baby.
Yeah, well, it's just easier. I've been in the digital train since like 2010 or 11. Like I was actually leads to my Mass Effect experience because I first played these on PC on Steam, played 1 and 2. 3 was never released for Steam until recently, and then I went to college, didn't have my PC with me, got a PS3, and got the Mass Effect Trilogy box set, which had all 3 games, which was a big deal because Mass Effect 1 was originally not released for PS3.
Yep, it was an Xbox exclusive.
So it's just a weird release history if you look back at it for some of the stuff.
Yeah, honestly,
Where,
I didn't even...
The way I had to play Mass Effect to get all 3 games experience, like I think I beat it twice on PS3, and I imported my old saves into Mass Effect 1 and 2 for Legendary, and like my original character still has like basically a whole Mass Effect 3 playthrough to get through. That's the picture I showed you of my old Shepard.
Oh yeah,
I'll put that in the video portion now. But my original Shepard looking rough.
He was looking
from
rough.
2013.
Yeah, I remember when Mass Effect came out on the original Xbox. It was an exclusive. I think until Mass Effect 2. After Mass Effect 2, I think they might have released it on PS3.
Yeah, so PS3 players like couldn't get. There were certain scenes and things that they could never unlock because you would have to have the full Mass Effect 1 playthrough. And I know they released that like comic book thing where you could make the big choices, but there's also like little stuff that there are little choices that you couldn't, little things that you could have done in Mass Effect 1 that would not unlock in Mass Effect 2 unless you had a full Mass Effect 1 playthrough.
Yeah, that was a weird time, Normally when games like these, it would release, the whole trilogy would have just been on Xbox, but because it was so popular, they started releasing it on PS3 and then of course PC.
Yeah, I wonder how far the Xbox relationship went because I know the nice Old Republic games 1 and 2 developed by BioWare were Xbox exclusives for consoles at least. They all released on PC. But in terms of console exclusives, BioWare already had that sort of relationship with them, I think. But then, yeah, you make Mass Effect and it becomes one of the biggest games ever. I mean, to the fact that they re-released it or remastered it for this new edition. So it's just, interesting how the interesting way that I had to like the easiest way for me to play Mass Effect 3 was to buy the whole box set for less than $30 at GameStop or $25 if I was a pro member.
I think one of the main reasons why it didn't come out on PS3 initially is because, remember, PS3 released later and it wasn't as popular when it first released. When PS3 first released, the reviews of it were very negative.
I mean, it was also $700.
Yeah, which is pretty much.
Have you ever seen
crazy
that
money.
Sony press conference where they make that announcement?
Yeah, that was really bad.
It's a real. One of the more cringe, or not cringe, I don't like to use that word too much, but a significant moment in PlayStation where after the PS2 success, they're just so confident, being like, yeah, they spend like the first half hour talking about how great the PS2 is and how they're still releasing so many bitchin' games for it. And so by the time they make the PS3 price announcement, like, yeah, you're going to buy this for $700 because we're the company that made the PlayStation 2. And this was like a year after Xbox launched, or Xbox 360 had a successful launch with their online and stuff, and just grabbed that foothold. And regardless of the power of the cell processor, they could just never catch up.
No, Xbox 360 definitely ran that generation.
Yeah,
and I felt and
a lot of games ran better on Xbox than PlayStation, even though it was touted to have the superior hardware. It was just a hard thing for developers to make stuff for.
Exactly, and that's why a lot of developers, chose Xbox because their system was just so much simpler to develop with.
In fact, sorry, you go first.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, but pretty much the tables turned when Xbox One came out and PS4, where everyone went PS4 and nobody went Xbox One.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how this next generation pans out, whether it's going to be more Xbox or PlayStation 5s. I think it's a little too early to determine because of all the shortages and stuff, but
yeah, you need consoles to accurately tell what the numbers are, but I mean, both of them are selling out like hotcakes, but that's because
everything's selling out. It's impossible to get anything new.
Exactly, unless you go into Newegg and hope you're one of the lucky millions of people that'll win that one purchase for that GTX, the RTX 3080 Ti.
Oh, I love 2021. It's such a great time to be alive.
But what were you gonna say?
Oh yeah, for relating the PS3 back to Mass Effect. There was one DLC for the Legendary Edition that they could not port because the files got corrupted when they ported this DLC to PlayStation 3. It was there's like a combat DLC for Mass Effect 1 where you could
Pinnacle Station.
Pinnacle Station. So Pinnacle Station's files got corrupted because they had to port it to PS3. So they could not port it to the Legendary Edition, and I think it's the only DLC that doesn't make it into this game.
Fun little fact, Pinnacle Station was actually a DLC that was not made by BioWare, but a company in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Ooh.
So when they asked for the source code, they sent them the source code, but it got corrupted, and it would have taken 6 months to, rewrite the whole source code to add it to Mass Effect, so they just chose not to put it in.
And it's a so-so DLC, so it's not even worth it.
Exactly. It's not worth it at all. So that's why it won't be in it, and you're probably never going to see it.
Yeah, it's... The only reason I liked it was you can unlock the weapon achievements and the weapon skills, but the weapon combat has improved so much in the Legendary Edition that it doesn't even matter. So that issue's resolved itself.
Yeah, and when they released the Legendary Edition, mostly of the achievements are changed. So there wasn't any weapon-related ones. They were more related to kills.
Yeah, and using a skill 25 times and all that.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Tally. She's from a race called the Quarians, who have to live in spacesuits because their immunosystems are so terrible. They got kicked off their planet for creating the Geth, which are a synthetic robot race that revolted and ended up killing millions and millions of people under the influence of the Reapers, who are the big bad aliens. So she has like a complicated story as far as like trying to restore the reputation of her race, trying to deal with the politics of should we retake a planet and try to live there, trying to deal with the guilt of creating the Geth. And from 1 to 3, solid party member. And I think she has good, really good story moments, especially in 2 and 3, where you can help reunite the Geth and the Quarians. S rank.
Yeah, Tali is definitely S rank. I feel like throughout the story, she just grows and she just becomes such a great part of the crew. Especially her loyalty mission in 2, where you basically have to her father is studying the Geth on a ship, and he turns them on. Not sexually, of course. He turns them on, and basically they kill everybody in that station. And so Tali has to go.
Huge no-no.
Yeah, you can't turn on the Geth at all, even when you're studying them, because of the huge repercussions it could lead to, which everybody on the ship is basically killed, and you pretty much have to deactivate the remaining Geth on that ship so it could be recovered by the Quarians.
Yeah, and she goes through a lot of character development on that mission. Dealing with the expectations of family, expectations of the people she knows, trying to, is she doing the right thing? Should she be with Shepard doing this mission, or should she be focusing on issues more close to home? Yeah, total S-rank character. And like I said before, is a party member available in all 3 games? Hell yeah, nothing but S's over here.
Yeah, and of course, in 2, she becomes a romance option. She's also a romance option in 3. If you choose not to romance her in either of the games, then she will get with Garrus, which is pretty much an S-rank couple. So.
Oh yeah. And these next few ones, let's just do a little rapid fire on these next few ones, because these ones are kind of like, they're okay characters, and also it's like 90 degrees in this room, and the sooner we end the podcast, the sooner I can turn on the AC and stop sweating. But not that I will, that's secondary to all this. But we'll do a couple of these little rapid fire. Jacob, who we already discussed, boring character with a great side mission. I think this is a solid C. I don't hate Jacob. I have no animosity. Kind of boring. Has a great quest. C. Or B, maybe. I could do a B.
To me, he's like Caden. He's really boring. The only saving grace for Jacob is basically his loyalty mission. If it wasn't for that, he would get an F, but he gets a D from me.
A D. All right, I get it. And this, not our last human character, and definitely not the worst human character, but yet another human character, Miranda, who is a Cerberus operative who has been genetically designed to be perfect, and her loyalty quests involve dealing with her father, who's expecting a lot, who very controlling of her, and trying to save her genetically modified twin, or not twin, younger sister, from her father and those expectations. So it's definitely a character that starts kind of boring and grows, but yeah, C rank. He's like middle of the road.
Yeah, I agree. Miranda is I agree with Dylan. It's definitely a C rank character. She definitely grows a lot, and I feel like after the game, her loyalty to Cerberus is pretty much cut off after that point. She doesn't really want to be part of Cerberus. If, of course, she survives the suicide mission. If she doesn't, her sister's a badass character.
Oh, yeah. So any of these characters in Mass Effect 2, from Jacob to... we'll let you know when the cutoff is, but any of these characters can be killed. So
yes.
But in 3, she's kind of has a more of a background role, because she's obviously trying to avoid being murdered by Cerberus. But I think there's some cool resolution to her character with her father and stuff like that. So, but yeah, C rank. Like I wouldn't even call this game's so good that even the bad characters like this aren't really bad. They're just okay.
No.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get to a bad character eventually, but for the most part.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
So, yeah, C rank for Miranda. Next on my list is a cool guy called Mordin Solus.
Ooh, baby. Mordin.
Ooh, baby. I feel like for me, this was an easy S. This is a guy who's a sort of hyperactive scientist. His story revolves him being responsible for the genophage virus that is unleashed on the Krogan, and that kind of weighs heavy on his mind as a scientist. He was now sort of responsible for millions of deaths, but trying to convince himself logically that it was the right thing to do, but morally he's definitely having second thoughts about it. Maybe like how like Spock in Star Trek is very logic based and has trouble sort of dealing with the emotional side of things, or Vulcans don't really have emotions, but it may be a kind of similar but not really vein there, where a scientist may be sort of out of touch with and trying to grapple with the morals as opposed to the logic, which says one thing, but the morals say do something else.
Yeah, I totally understand the Star Trek references. Yep, 100%. Totally not lost at all.
You're a computer nerd, man.
That doesn't mean I fucking like Star Trek.
Yes, it does. You like Star Trek, Star Wars, and you play D&D probably.
First of all, I never played Dungeons and Dragons. Morden definitely a solid A character. Definitely a lot of fun to bring on missions. He's definitely very analytical. Him just trying his hardest in Mass Effect 3 to cure the genophage.
Oh yeah, and great resolution to that storyline.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is, it's really hard to stop him from curing the genophage. For him to not cure the genophage, it pretty much has to be like all the worst circumstances. It's like Eve has to die, Reeve has to be the leader. That's the only way he'll ever not cure the genophage, because he's like, man, yeah, Reeve is the worst. We can't have him around. So besides that, he tries his hardest no matter what to cure the genophage. And he tries to, if you play Mass Effect 3, you know that when he tries to cure the genophage, he does saddeningly die if he hadn't already died in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah. Yeah, he has I love that storyline and resolution for him, Rex, and the Paragon side, let's say. I love that resolution. And speaking earlier about how minor characters or one-off characters can be really interesting. If Morden is dead, he's replaced by a similar Solarian character called Paddock Wicks, who's maybe not as good as Morden, where if Morden's an A, he's a A-, where he's also interesting and has some unique dialogue that's interesting. I watched a video on YouTube for some of this stuff because, some of the decisions you're just never you might just not make. And it's just easier to watch a YouTube video someone cut together of all the scenes. But even a character that you could only get if Morden's dead is still really interesting. Not to take anything away from Morden, but I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, because if some certain characters do die in the suicide mission, we do get replacements for them in certain scenes. But not every character gets replaced. Some characters do not get replaced with a different character. Yeah. But Morden is very key to Mass Effect 3. That's why he, got a replacement.
Someone needs to be trying to cure that genophage. And
exactly.
he also has a great scene, which is maybe widely considered one of the best scenes, or by fans to be considered one of the best scenes, where he sings Gilbert and Sullivan songs, or he just reveals that he was like a old time. He sings 1930 songs, even though it's the 2100s. But he has a scene where he just breaks out into song, and then there's an awkward silence after. So more than just a one-dimensional science character.
Yeah, he's definitely up there as a character. To me, solid A.
So I'm about it. Well, a character that I put as a solid A is Grunt. I love Krogans. I love Baby Grunt. He's basically a genetically grown Krogan that was developed by this guy called Warlord Okier. You're trying to go recruit this guy. He dies, and he leaves this tank with a Krogan in it, which you can choose to open or not. And if you do open it, you get to meet Grunt, who is literally basically a baby, but because he's a clone, he can learn, basically knows how to speak and stuff and shoot a gun. But basically, you become his dad pretty much. If you the Paragon route, you basically become his dad. or mother, depending on what shepherd you are.
Mama Shepherd?
Mama Shepherd. Yeah, there's that scene in the Citadel DLC where he gets caught by the cops and you have to like figure out what happened and talk him out of being arrested. Talk the cops out of arresting him.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
it's very, very like much like, all right, I gotta go save my big Krogan kid because he lit a police car on fire.
And then Shepherd at the end is always like, grunt.
Yeah, for me, Grunt's an easy A rank. I love that guy. You know, his loyalty quest basically is him going through a trial to become a real Krogan. So for me, maybe not S, but A. Love that guy.
Yeah, I
Love
like his
that
loyalty
grunt.
quest. I love his loyalty quest too, where you have to kill the Thrasher Maw, and then pretty much after that quest, all the Krogans is like, whoa, that's Shepherd. He killed a Thrasher Maw on his first go.
Oh yeah, and basically after that, Grunt is now accepted into a clan, which is a very big deal in the Krogan culture. So basically, sort of becoming a real man in a lot of ways. But yeah, A rank for sure. Where would you put him?
A rank, especially his Mass Effect 3 mission where you have to go to where you're doing the Rachni mission.
Oh
and
yes,
Grunt, pretty much, you think at the end he's about to die, but then he comes out crawling to the end, and you're like, Grunt, get over here, you sexy beast.
that guy's a survivor, man.
Facts.
Love that guy.
That song, Beyonce song, it's about Grunt.
Oh man, someone's gotta make a fan cam with Grunt in that song.
Dylan,
I think I got.
Get to it.
I think I got an idea for a TikTok.
Bang, bang.
Oh man, I wish I had my soundboard. So the next character is a character called Jack. Jack is basically a literally tortured soul. Biotic who's been tortured by Cerberus throughout her whole childhood because she's too powerful. They were experimenting on her. She escapes and is in you basically rescue her from the highest security prison. She's just angry motherfucker.
Yeah, she's definitely a complicated character. Throughout the whole time, she's not thrilled to be working with Cerberus, but she understands that this mission is a lot bigger than just Cerberus. And I feel like her character, I think to me, Jack is a rank character. I don't throw S rank around as easily as somebody around here.
Bro, I've only given 4 of them.
Exactly. I've only given 1 of them.
We've talked
Just
about
saying.
like 10 characters.
Exactly. Unlike you, my S rank is something that's pure and needs to be selected.
Just because my heart is more
of the best.
Just because I'm more open to loving and admitting that I love these characters doesn't make me a bad person or something.
I bet you just throw around that S rank and just give it to anybody willy-nilly.
No, there's actually
someone named James.
I actually have 0 more S ranks on this list.
I don't know. There's one character I think you might give an S rank, and I will give an S rank too because I just love him that much.
Yeah, you would.
But he's technically not a companion.
Jenkins.
How'd you know?
I always know. But yeah. Jack's interesting.
Jack's great. Her Mass Effect 3 story is great where, she's really grown up and she's a lot more mature and she's, using her tortured past to help out others who, have gone through not as similar as to her, but, are also biotics. And
yeah, she's like training basically biotic students at a school. And there's one moment where they're finished battles. He's like, all right, weapons check. Pragley. Those fields were shit. Work on it. It's like directing her anger in a more positive way, like a football coach.
Is she Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side?
No comparison to her and Sandra Bullock.
Just kidding. But
I mean, I love me some Sandy B, but
oh yeah, who doesn't love Sandy B? But yeah, I think she's definitely an A class character. I think she has a great story, and her character grows a lot.
I could get down with that. Yeah, especially with the growth to 3 where she's less angry at the world and she still has that anger, but she's dealing with it in a much more healthy way, which it's definitely hard to overcome serious traumas like this, especially in real life. And sort of a positive example of someone who was so angry and bitter and fuck the world, like I just want to die, and to find a purpose and work on yourself and just the struggle's real.
True.
So yeah, I would say A or B, probably A. Yeah, I'll go A.
Definitely. The next character we should talk about is the next Asari, which is Samara, or it could be Morinth, depending on certain factors throughout Mass Effect 2.
Or just the certain loyalty quest.
Yeah.
So Samara is basically they call it a Justicar, which basically means that she's allowed to murder you for any petty crime. So if you're out there jaywalking, and she in the Mass Effect universe, and she caught you, she's allowed to kill you. Basically, like the epitome of a lawful good character. Just you need to obey the law, or else death. Like a paladin.
Honestly, if she was in our world, man, a lot of people would be dead because a lot of people jaywalk like all the time.
Oh yeah, especially in Boston, like that's how you move. It's like
Pretty
if
much.
there wasn't jaywalking, no one would live in Boston.
Yeah, that's one thing I hate about driving in Boston is just like people just fucking come out of nowhere. You think you're good to go, and then out of the blue you just see some random dude in the street. You're like, whoa, what the fuck? You gotta stop.
Maybe you're coming out of nowhere. You ever think about that?
Yeah, clearly.
Mr. Guy in the car, think you're better than me? As I'm walking here? Well, not walking today because it's been 95 degrees for like 3 days straight. Literally feel like I'm in hell. I thought we were in the north. I thought we were supposed to get to cold weather. Cold and bitter like my heart.
Nah, sorry, bro. It's summertime. Summertime, everybody gets the heat. At least we're not getting 110 degree weather. Like, that'd be terrible.
Yeah, true. But speaking of hot, I'm sort of cold on this Samara character. I think she has an interesting. All of these guys have interesting side quests. So I know we're sounding a little redundant there, but they all really do have interesting side quests. Where we're talking about Morinth there, where her daughters are all basically biotic vampires. I think the Mass Effect term is Ardot Yakshi. Where if these people,
they're like succubus.
Yeah, succubus. That's it. Where if they have sex with you, you die. And one of her daughters has just like been killing a bunch of people. She's alluring and sexy, and people fall in love with her. And when they do it, they fucking die. And so Samara, as a bastion of good, needs to go kill her. But obviously, it's her daughter, so she needs the help of Shepard. And at the end of this quest, it's basically you have the decision to, similar to a great film called Star Wars Episode 3, ... not a great film, but where Anakin has to choose between Mace Windu and the Emperor. You have to choose between Samara and her succubus daughter.
Yeah, honestly, I've played Mass Effect 2 twice, and I have yet to ever gotten Morinth to be on my side. Yeah, so I don't know what you have to do to get Morinth, but
you have to choose to kill Samara instead. At the end of that quest, you just have to be like, well, I'm siding with Morinth. And then from what I've seen, she basically puts on her clothes and just pretends to be Samara, and most people don't react. There's like a couple characters I'll be like, Samara seems different. And I think there's only like 2 lines of unique dialogue throughout the rest of the game that are like clearly Morinth, not Samara.
Right.
Because she basically she puts on the same voice. So most people don't know the difference, and like skill wise, I think they're basically the same. But
can I just say that Samara is one of the characters that you'll notice in Mass Effect 2 got over sexualized hard.
Yeah. So Mass Effect 1 is like I mean, it was even Mass Effect 1 was considered raunchy at the time because of the more explicit sex scenes, which aren't even that explicit. But Mass Effect 2, they're like, we gotta bump the sex up, where it's like multiple shots of Miranda's butt in a skin-tight space outfit. Samara is showing cleavage, all sorts of, wearing tight clothes. So, yeah, definitely a sign that, like, this ain't your grandma's space adventure, buddy.
Yeah,
we got
much.
Boobs.
And Jack is just pretty much, she's not even. She's
Jack's doesn't wear a shirt. She wears a leather strap on her nipples. We just skipped over that part.
I know, because I forget about it because, honestly, I kind of, when I get her loyalty, I kind of put more clothes on her.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
but she is also covered in tattoos, so, from a distance, it might look like she's wearing a very colorful shirt.
That is true.
But yeah, Samara, I'm going to say C rank.
Honestly, she's a D rank to me. I feel like
I get it.
Besides her mission, she's not that interesting of a character.
Very monotone.
Very monotone. If you bring her along in a mission, it's super fucking boring.
Yeah. Very much like this next character, who we've discussed a little bit earlier, is he's kind of funny, but he's also really boring. And one of the first DLC characters in Mass Effect, or one of 2 DLC characters, Zaid.
Ugh, fucking
dude, who's just
F rank.
Basically, just talks like, "Well, we're gonna go on a goddamn quest, Shepard, or go kill Merc." He has an interesting story in a way that he was once the leader of one of these major Merc gangs called the Blue Suns, and they've basically erased him out of their history. But they want him dead because he betrayed their leader, or his leader betrayed him. But yeah, he doesn't have any development. He's just a one-note character, just talking about whatever person he killed recently, or here's a story how I beat that Krogan, or ripped his faceplate off and shot him in the head. Yeah, I put D rank, but DF, fuck this guy. Yeah, I mean, I think he can be funny sometimes because he's just so over the top, like trying to be a badass. And I like his look. He's got like the scar, he's got like a robotic eye.
Hey Zaid, how'd you get that scar? was it from eating pussy?
Oh man, if I could see Zaid and Scarface in the same room, I just see like a Tony Montana just breaking this guy down for the weak ass bitch he is.
Pretty much.
So yeah. Next, let's go to the other DLC character who I think is better, Kasumi. Better. Oh, you have more to say about Zaid?
I mean, no, he's F character, bland story. DLC characters unfortunately don't really add any more dialogue after their mission, so they're pretty much useless.
They have some unique here and there, but yeah, it's not Zaid's just weak. Kasumi, I think, is a little better. Like her heist quest a little more, and a much more relatable story. So I bring her up to like a C.
Yeah, she's definitely a C. If you're not aware, if you've never played Kazumi's DLC, basically you have to retrieve her former lover's memory box.
Yeah, I think gray box,
which pretty much is like the last memory of him.
It has all of his memories and also undefined quote unquote alliance secrets, which are not told, which we never find out what those are, but the reason why he got killed was because of these alliance secrets. So now the big decision in that DLC is whether Kasumi deletes everything on the gray box, saving herself from being attacked for this data, but losing all the memories of her boyfriend, or keeping it, taking on the danger, but keeping the memories.
Yeah, and if you're a heartless bitch, you'll probably just have her delete it. But all us cool guys, all us cool shepherds,
it's for her safety.
We let her keep it because we know it means something to her.
Did I ever tell you that I had her delete the data? Because I feel like you're targeting me right now.
Anyways, as we're ending this podcast because friendship is completed with Dylan, I'd like to thank you all for listening. Goodbye.
Was that mean like friendship with Mudasir is ended? Now Salman is my best
Now,
friend.
yeah, yeah. Now James is my best friend.
Oh God. Well, we got 2 more characters to go before that. So yeah, Kasumi, C rank. What about Thane, man? What do you think about Thane?
I think Thane is a solid B character.
Agreed.
Like he has good dialogue. He has some if you're not aware, Thane is a Drell, and he's pretty much an assassin.
But
you find
he's
out
also dying from because where he lived was too humid. His lungs are slowly collapsing, I think.
Does he live in South Carolina?
Oh, shit. No, he lives in Space, North Carolina, or South Carolina. Space Carolina.
Not Space, South Carolina.
Oh, no. Did I tell you, when I drove through, I was driving to Florida, and I drove through North Carolina and South Carolina, and all through North Carolina, there are all these ads for something called Fort Pedro, and it's just like, cross the border to see Fort Pedro. I'm like, oh, this is going to be culturally sensitive to Mexicans and their heritage and culture. And then apparently you cross the border into South Carolina, and apparently Fort Pedro is like a Mexican themed amusement park. It was really weird. It was closed because it was like 3 a.m. when I was driving, but what the fuck's going on in Carolinas?
I don't know. Just try to avoid both of them if you can.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, I will actually be in South Carolina in July. I will be at Myrtle Beach.
What? Nice.
Yeah, so I will
bring some
unfortunately
sunscreen
be in the Carolinas.
Nice.
Hopefully I don't get stranded in space, South Carolina. That sounds terrible.
Yeah. Or you might get killed by a Thane-like character. And his DLC revolves around him trying to save his son from not following in this assassin lifestyle. Because of his assassin ways, his wife died and he was never near his family. Thane regrets that, doesn't want to see his son going the same way, but has a strange relationship because he was never around said son. And if he's alive in 3, he has a really cool action sequence where he fights one of the big bads of Mass Effect 3 as sort of a last battle. Even though he's like close to his deathbed, still giving them a good fight, which I think elevates the B.
Yeah, and then another cool thing you can do is also after he dies in 3, you can also give him a memorial at your apartment, and everyone just speaks very positively about Thane and how great of a person he was, which he really was. He was a flawed person. He realized the things that he did were wrong, and he pretty much afterwards spent his whole life trying to correct it.
Yeah, and came out a hero, if I do say so myself.
Yes, if he lives throughout the suicide mission and you hit certain dialogues, he does save one of the counselors in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah. So I give it really because one of those guys who's basically in the hospital because he's closing in on his Kelper syndrome or whatever it is getting to a point where it's actively affecting his like cardio and health. So to have basically going out in a metaphorical blaze of glory. Yeah. Or not even metaphorical. He does go out in a blaze of glory. What am I talking about? He's not like Ramboing it up. He's doing like ninja stuff, but tomato.
He's a hero. I guess we should wrap up the last character in Mass Effect 2, who we don't really see until the very end.
Yeah, he basically no development, though. I think he's interesting. The more interesting thing is the implications this has on the game, all the story so far, and that would be
Legion. So Legion is a sentient Geth that doesn't share the same conscience as all the other Geth?
Yeah, so he's not on the big like communal network. It's a independent mobile unit that is full of like what he says like 1,000 consciences or something. A thousand
like
Geth programs, let's say, are in this one unit. He's wearing some of Shepard's old armor because he's been on the hunt for Shepard. So a little hint that he may be a little more human than machine. But yeah, you meet him right at the end of Mass Effect 2.
Legion is basically Macklemore, where he goes thrift shopping.
Does Legion have $20 in his pocket? Does Legion even have pockets? He's a robot.
He wears Shepard's clothes.
Oh, for sure. And I think a lot of his stuff really pays off in Mass Effect 3, where he's you make a lot of choices surrounding the Geth versus Quarian conflict, with Tali being on one side and Legion being on the other. And so you make a choice of whether to wipe one or both out or to reunite them. And really touching scene where Legion, right at the end, where he's about to sacrifice himself to save the Geth, he's talking about, like, does this unit have a soul? And you're like, yes, you do, man. Yes, you do.
All right, Dylan. I'll give you a second to shed a couple of tears.
Oh yeah, pour one out.
He's a C rank to me. You really don't get to know much of him because he's literally the last mission in Mass Effect 2. So
yeah,
you get like maybe 2 hours with him.
And
max.
by the time you get him, when the last quest of Mass Effect 2 opens up, you can only do a certain number of quests if you want to save all of the crew, the non-party crew members. And his quest, loyalty quest, is like right at that point where, like, okay, you could do the one quest and still save everybody. But if you were to do like 3 quests, then like a bunch of people are going to get liquefied. So it's just
pretty much.
Like at Legion, you're really cutting it close with this loyalty stuff.
He's like, come on, one last minute mission before the suicide mission.
Yeah, which of course I do because I gotta get all the loyalty.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's all the Mass Effect 1 and 2 characters. In Mass Effect 3, you get either Kaidan or Ashley, depending on who you leave to die on in Mass Effect 1. You get Garrus, Liara, and Tali as crew members, along with 3 additional crew members, 1 DLC, 2 regular. And let's just get this out of the way. We meet a character, a human musclehead dumbass called James. James is an F rank character. And
is there a tier below F?
It's Jeff. No, sorry, it's offensive to Jeff.
Where is the trash? Where is the trash in this?
We are putting him in
there.
the recycling bin and then right-clicking and saying empty recycle bin.
Pretty much.
Here's my reasoning, okay? Here it is, okay? One, he's another boring human character. He's introduced in Mass Effect 3. So by this point, your Commander Shepard character has saved the galaxy two times. Twice times. He's done it twice times. Everyone knows who Commander Shepard is. He's the guy who was right about, guy or girl who was right about the Reapers, right about Saren. And this time, all the powers that be, the government, are putting their hopes in Shepard because they're like, he saved us twice before. They're going to save us again. And then James comes along and is like questioning your every move at the beginning. He's like, why are we going? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Like, bitch. I fucking saved the galaxy twice, James. Shut the fucking fuck up and listen to me. I don't need your musclehead bullshit right now.
He said, bitch.
And he gets immediately overshadowed by a character called Cortez, who is also hangs out in the shuttle bay with him, who, for not being a party member, is way more interesting. Like, what's James's big conflict? He wants to know if he should become an N7 or not? Bitch, please. F.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Dylan. Throughout the whole story, we see James wearing a top tank. Which is
Top tank?
Yeah, top tank.
Are you purposely saying this wrong because I said twice times?
No. So as James is wearing his top tank, keep it straight.
Top tank.
Basically,
The
James
guy wishes he was a top.
James is secret bottom, confirmed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, James is pretty much such a dull character. He's basically the Caden of Mass Effect 3, where you just don't want to ever take him along in any missions, and you are pretty sad that you have to take him along for at least 2 missions because, he's kind of mandatory.
And you start off, if you saved Caden, you'd have to start off Mass Effect 3 by having Caden and James in your party.
And that's why I always save Ashley.
Actually,
she's way more tolerable than Caden and James combo.
Yeah, maybe, but
honestly,
still,
if it starts with Caden and James, I'm just gonna let the fucking Reapers take over. They should win.
That's extreme.
Just fucking do it. I'm not going on the ship with these 2 assholes.
Just come get me, Reapers. Come on. Just
take me like you did that child.
Beam me up. Yeah. The ghost kid in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3 does some weird things.
Definitely. Have you ever heard about that whole indoctrination theory where they basically the whole time Shepard is indoctrinated by the Reapers? And the child is just like a illusion because of the indoctrination. In terms of
in that case, would all 1 through 3 be hallucinations or?
No, just 3.
Just 3.
Because that's where you're the closest to the Reapers.
Okay, so Shepard in real life would have been indoctrinated there, and then the child is him trying to cope with it.
So the child is basically like a reason why he sees the child because the Reaper's thoughts are being projected into Shepard, and
gotcha.
And the child is a manifestation of that.
I could probably buy that.
Yeah. So James, terrible. I
guess
Cortez.
Should be, Cortez.
Cortez is an S rank character.
Yeah. Not a party member, but I love Cortez is good.
Yeah, Cortez. So great. S rank character throughout the whole story. I love his backstory. I love him as a character. If you have to be if you have to go for a dude in this whole game as a dude, you go for Cortez.
Oh yeah, and it's like we said last episode, just awesome that they have that option, and it's not a stereotype. It's not like regressive. It's just here's Cortez, here's his backstory. Oh, and he happens to be gay.
Exactly.
Good on you. And compare it to dumbass James.
I feel sorry for Cortez to have to hang out with James the whole fucking ride. It's just I couldn't imagine.
Hey, Cortez,
he's a trooper.
Hey Cortez, come up a couple floors. We got the good people over here. You can hang out with Liara.
Yeah,
Garrus.
Shit. Fuck.
Or you could come in the cockpit and hang out with Robot Edie, also a party member. So Edie is a artificial intelligence that is installed onto your ship in Mass Effect 2. In Mass Effect 3, she ends up taking over a robot body and becoming a full-on party member.
Yeah, and we also find out that Edie's actually been with us since Mass Effect 1, where she's actually the rogue AI in the DLC for Mass Effect 1. I forget what the DLC is called. Bringing Down the Sky, something like that, yeah.
Well, Bring Down the Sky is, I don't know if there's an AI in that one. I know there's a multiple rogue AI missions. Like I know you go to the Earth Moon.
Yeah,
and deal with a rogue
so
AI.
she's the Luna Moon rogue
Gotcha.
AI.
Yeah,
who then becomes a ship AI, and then gets the body in 3. I think Edie is a solid B character.
Yeah,
she has some quirky moments.
And she sort of has those learning to be human things where she's the pilot Joker, voiced by Seth Green, falls in love with the robot character, and she kind of knows it, and she's trying to ask ask Shepard,
hello human,
how to act, what do humans like to do on dates, and How, what can I do to make Joker happy? And she has some funny lines. She, sort of becomes self-aware. Like her attempts at humor are humor in themselves because they're so bad sometimes. Because she's a robot trying to. What is humor? Beep boop.
Yeah, and I feel like she has some interesting dialogue, especially like if you're doing the Quarian versus Geth missions. She kind of sides with Legion.
Yeah, because she is a virtual intelligence robot. So, does Edie feel and have a soul? Then why can't the Geth?
Exactly. And, just that self-awareness and, just her being way better than James.
Oh, yeah.
Propels her to that beat.
I mean, by the time you get Liara as a party member in 3, James is permanently on the curb. Like,
yeah, he pretty much
get out.
You just don't take him along anywhere anymore. He stays on the ship.
Like,
if
you're
he asks you to
embarrassing.
hang out.
Like, why are you here? You're not special in any way. You don't have any powers. You never stopped a Reaper. You're just some dude. Just some fucking loser.
The Shitting on James podcast brought to you by Commander Shepard.
This is my favorite podcast on the Citadel. And, okay, so B rank for Edie. And last character, this is a DLC character. We mentioned him a little earlier, I think. It's so hot in this room, I don't even remember anymore. But Javik the Prothean.
Javik.
So like you said, this is like a weird gimmicky character. Because the Protheans are throughout the story are the ancient race that were wiped out, but left their beacons throughout the galaxy as a warning. And so Javik is a character that was cryogenically frozen 50,000 years ago, waking up just now as the Reaper massacre is about to begin once again. So he wakes up in the world where nothing has changed. The warnings were not heeded. He is the last of his race. Welcome, I'm Commander Shepard. Like, it's
Javik pretty much woke up, as CJ would say, "Ah, shit, here we go again."
Yeah, his life sucks, dude. Could you imagine? Like, let's say, in the very extreme case, like coronavirus got out of control, and you got cryogenically frozen for 100 years, and you're like, well, we're going to deal with this coronavirus and maybe this global warming by the time we wake up. And you wake up and, like, it's the same. All your friends are dead, but there's still coronavirus.
I had a way worse thought. What if you woke up and then the whole world was populated by James? I mean,
well, just put me back to sleep.
Just end me now, fam.
Just put me back to sleep. I can't live in a world with some fucking discount, what was that douchey reality show in the 2000s? Jersey Shore?
Jersey Shore?
Some Jersey Shore ripoff dudes with fake tans and hair gel, and they're just showing off their muscles like a bunch of douchebags. Yeah, dude.
I have to think that James
sucks.
was based off one of the Jersey Shore characters. I'm just saying.
I mean, maybe. I mean, he's not Italian, but...
No, but he's very close to their personality.
Yeah, just, Jim... What was they like? Jim Tan and Laundry, baby. God, I hate myself.
Dylan knows way too much about Jersey Shore.
I know way too much about things that are, like, just real... like probably most people on the internet, I have very niche knowledge. Like, if you want to talk to me about Homestar Runner... I could talk to you about Homestar Runner for fucking days. Twice times. Which is a Homestar Runner thing, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yes,
Once
we all know
times,
what Homestar
twice
Runner
times.
is.
We don't have time to discuss Homestar Runner right now. Old web cartoon before YouTube was a thing, basically. Back to Javik. I'm in between, like, B and C here. Because I think there's, like... Him being a dick is kind of funny. He's just, like, constantly trashing, like, the races of this age. Like, all these primitives.
I remember when I used to eat fresh asadi.
Yeah, he's just talking about how much their technology sucks compared to his time. Admittedly, he spends most of the game doing this, but there's some interesting dialogue once you go to the Arsari homeworld. And if you bring Liara and they're looking at the ancient statues of the gods of Sari culture, and Javik is just like, "Yep, that was the Protheans. There's no gods. We were just here spying on you." And Liara just can't handle it.
Just in the bushes hanging out. Hey, what are those Asari doing?
Yeah, and then so yeah, I would give him like he's kind of gimmicky, so maybe like C. I don't know. It's one of those things that kind of breaks the like this would not happen. I mean, I guess that line is sort of a weird thing to do in a fantasy game. Like, what it can't be done, because if it's a fantasy game, then anything can be done. And like, how are these people in space? How do these people all speak English? Like, those are the questions that like no one gives a fuck about. But it just feels a little gimmicky.
I mean, English is the universal language of the planet. Duh.
Yeah. Oh,
we
yeah.
all know this.
Or basic, as they call it in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. But yeah, Javik, the character for me, very uninteresting. He has a few decent lines, and that's about it.
Yeah.
He's just a throw in to make your squad a little bit bigger if half your squad died.
Yeah, because there are there's like maybe 5 less party members available compared to the 11 that were in Mass Effect 2. So, but yeah, I agree. And that basically wraps up the rankings. Man, we love this game.
We really do love this game.
I'm looking forward to finish. I've just finished up on Pharos, and currently just escaped the Citadel after being locked down to head to the last missions. So finishing up the last side quests, and then going to finish that game. Looking forward to importing to 2. Hopefully less buggy experience than I had with this Mass Effect 1 Legendary. And yeah. And my Shepard's way less depressed as opposed to the very first Shepard I made for PC. Which again, I'll put the thing up here for the video. Here's my depressed ass Shepard. Just I thought it looked cool at the time. I don't know.
Well, that's good. Another side note is I will also be releasing my review of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition alongside with this podcast. This should be one of the first blogs we'll have on the site.
Yeah.
Hope you guys check it out. We'll have some pictures of me and the boys hanging out in Mass Effect 1.
ThePeoplesReviewPodcast.com.
Although Dylan may have experienced more bugs than me, he is playing on PC, where I was playing on the Xbox Series X version.
Yeah.
So you know how it is. Console usually gets a little better treatment, bugs-wise, than PC does.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to say if it was like, I know I'm running on a pretty old card at this point. I'm working with a 180 or 1080 card, but these bugs like
180,
1080 card, 180. Yeah, 180 would be a real old card, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm running on a 1080, which is as far as like frame rate and resolution, awesome, doing great on the Legendary Edition. But these bugs seem to be a little more maybe not because of that. They seem to be more just kind of. I mean, they released a patch yesterday that even lowered the volume of the mass relay transitions, which were murderously loud.
I honestly didn't hear it, but maybe I really don't play with the volume that high, and my hearing's pretty shit regardless. So
yeah, tonight is for days. But yeah, so
exactly.
And next week we're gonna be talking about going back to space with Cowboy Bebop episodes 4 through 6, and I don't know. We'll probably talk more about Mass Effect then too, because fuck it, we love talking about some Mass Effect. I love talking shit about James. I love hanging out with Rex. It's great stuff.
Definitely great stuff. It's just so great to be able to rank the characters and then being able to shit on James, because honestly, it just makes the day go by so great.
Yeah, and he deserves it. He sucks.
Hashtag cancel James.
Yeah. I'm canceling him from my playthrough, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
And that about wraps it up. Check us out on peoplesreviewpodcast.com. Dub People's Review on Twitter. Episodes every Thursday. I was a bit late with the last week's episode. Not going to happen this week. And shout out, my dad had a birthday recently, so happy birthday to my dad.
Happy birthday, Dylan's dad.
Yeah. And that's it. See you, I got it. I should go.
See you soon, Space Cowboys.